My best friend and girlfriend thought their secret was safe. They never saw me watching, waiting, setting the perfect trap. When it sprung, their world collapsed, proof, exposure, and a final blow they'll never escape. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. My name is Ryan. I'm 27 years old, and up until recently, I thought I had the perfect balance in life. A decent paying job I didn't hate, a small group of friends I trusted like brothers, and a girlfriend who, at least in my mind, was my person. She wasn't just my partner. She was the one I pictured next to me in wedding photos, holding my hand in hospital waiting rooms, laughing at inside jokes until we had wrinkles. Yeah, I was that sure about her. My best friend, Matt, had been in my life since high school. We'd been through almost everything together, late-night study sessions, bad breakups, parties where we swore we'd never drink that much again. He was the guy who had my back in fights, who helped me move into my first apartment, who I trusted with my secrets. If there was one person in the world I'd bet would never stab me in the back, it was Matt. And then, it happened. It was just another Saturday night at my place. We'd ordered pizza, cracked open a few beers, and were playing on the PS5 like old times. Matt had his phone next to him, face down most of the night, but I kept noticing him glancing at it, smirking now and then. Didn't think much of it. I figured maybe he was texting some new girl. Good for him, right? Then came the sound. That little ding, short, sharp, unmistakable. A Tinder notification. Now, Matt was no stranger to dating app. But when he casually flipped his phone over, I caught a glimpse of the name and profile picture on the screen. My stomach dropped so hard, I swear I could hear it hit the floor. It was her. Emily. My girlfriend of 3 years. Same name. Same smile. Same profile picture from a trip we'd taken together, the one where I'd been right there, behind the camera, telling her she looked beautiful. For a second, my brain scrambled for any explanation that didn't involve betrayal. Maybe it was an old profile she forgot to delete. Maybe someone was catfishing using her pictures. But my gut wasn't buying it. I didn't say anything. I just watched. Matt looked down, read whatever was on the screen, and smirked again. Then his thumb moved. And swiped right. The game controller felt heavy in my hands. My pulse was pounding so loud it drowned out the TV. I wanted to grab the phone, slam it on the table, and demand an explanation. But instead, I stayed still. Something inside me whispered, "Don't move. Don't speak. Just watch." The next day, Matt called me, acting like nothing was off. He told me he'd met someone, and was going on a date. He didn't say her name. He didn't have to. I already knew. I hung up the call and sat in silence, staring at the wall. This wasn't just betrayal. This was deliberate. They didn't just lie to me, they thought I was too blind, too trusting, too stupid to see it. That's when something inside me shifted. I knew right then I wasn't going to just confront them. I wasn't going to cry or beg for an explanation. No. I was going to make them regret it. After Matt's call, I didn't explode. I didn't text Emily. I didn't storm over to anyone's place. I did nothing. At least, that's what it looked like on the outside. On the inside? I was working. Because the thing about revenge is, you don't get it by reacting in the moment. You get it by playing the long game. I started with Emily's social media. Not the obvious stuff, no public posts, no Instagram stories that screamed, "I'm cheating." But I dug into the little things. Likes. Comments from people I didn't recognize. Sudden gaps in her posting schedule that didn't line up with the excuses she'd given me. Then I checked Matt's pages. He was more subtle. No pictures with her. No obvious slip-ups. But there was overlap. A random food pic from a restaurant I'd suggested to Emily weeks ago. A shot of him at a bar I knew she'd gone to with friends, on the exact same night. I wasn't satisfied yet. I needed proof. The kind of proof they couldn't talk their way out of. So I went deeper. I borrowed a friend's phone and made a fake Tinder profile. I set the age range wide enough to catch both of them, and the location radius small so I could see who was close. And sure enough, within 2 days they both appeared. Matt with his usual cocky smirk. Emily with the exact same profile I'd seen on his phone. I swiped right on both. Matt didn't match me back, probably too busy with her. But Emily did. That meant her account was active and she was looking. Over the next week, I became a ghost in my own relationship. I answered her calls with short replies. I stopped initiating plans. I let her think I was distracted, maybe busy with work. Meanwhile, I started laying the groundwork. I pulled up old messages from both of them, ones where they'd sworn loyalty, where they'd talked about being there for me no matter what. I saved screenshots. I made a folder. It wasn't just about catching them. It was about building a case so airtight that when I made my move, there'd be no room for denial. The final push came one Friday night. Emily told me she was going out with her friend Mia. I knew that wasn't true the moment she said it. Mia had moved to another city months ago. I followed her. Not too close, not enough to be noticed. And there they were. Matt and Emily, sitting together in a dimly lit corner of a restaurant, leaning in close, laughing like they'd been together forever. That was the moment I knew two things. 1, they were serious, this wasn't a fling. 2, my revenge was going to be worth every second of the wait. The thing about betrayal is, the people doing it often think they're smarter than you. They mistake your silence for ignorance. They see your calm face and think it means you have no idea. That's the exact space I wanted Matt and Emily in, comfortable, confident, and completely unsuspecting. So I started playing the part. With Emily, I became the distracted boyfriend. I texted less, blamed it on long hours at work, and stopped asking about her nights out. Instead of confronting her lies, I pretended to buy them. When she'd say she was with friends, I'd reply with a quick, have fun, and nothing else. Every time I let her off the hook, I could almost hear her guard dropping. With Matt, I acted like the loyal best friend I'd always been. Still invited him over for games, still cracked jokes like we were back in high school. I made sure to ask him about dating life, pretending to be clueless, letting him feed me half-truths about someone special without ever saying her name. He thought he was outsmarting me. But in reality, I was studying him. Meanwhile, I started collecting more than just evidence. I started collecting leverage. I knew things about Matt's life, debts he had, favors he owed people, and one particular side hustle that was, let's just say, not exactly legal. I didn't plan to expose him for that, unless I needed to. But having it in my back pocket made me feel like I was holding a loaded gun he didn't even know existed. Emily's leverage was different. She had a few secrets she'd told me in confidence, about her job, about certain borrowing she'd done from work that her boss didn't know about. Again, I wasn't going to use it unless necessary. Revenge works best when it's surgical, not messy. Then I started planting seeds. I dropped little comments here and there to Emily, about how I was thinking of making a big change in my life. Something vague, enough to make her curious but not suspicious. To Matt, I joke about moving away for work or getting involved in a new business venture. The goal was simple. Make them believe I was slowly drifting away. Make them think they were free to be together without any real consequences. And they took the bait. Within a month, Emily started canceling our plans more often. Matt stopped calling as much, except for the occasional check-in. They thought they were easing out of my life on their own terms. What they didn't know was that I was building a moment, one single, perfect moment, where all their lies would collapse at once. And when that day came, I wasn't just going to take them down. I was going to make sure they could never look at each other the same way again. By now, I had all the proof I needed. Screenshot, pictures, timelines. But revenge isn't just about evidence, it's about timing. You can have the perfect bullet, but if you fire too soon, you miss the kill shot. I wanted to hit them where it would really hurt their pride, their image, their trust in each other. So I started mapping it out. Step 1. Get closer without them knowing I knew. I texted Emily more often again, pretending I was making more time for her. I invited Matt over for beers, acting like nothing was off. If they thought I suspected anything, the whole plan would crumble. Step 2. Control the setting. I needed one single moment where both of them would be together, with no way to escape, and I'd have an audience that mattered. So I thought about the upcoming dates and events. And then I found the perfect one, my birthday. Every year, I hosted a small get-together. Friends, food, music, nothing fancy. But this time it would be the stage for the final act. Step 3. Make them comfortable. 2 weeks before my birthday, I started giving Emily small gifts again, nothing expensive, just enough to make her think I was still the caring boyfriend. To Matt, I offered business advice on some side project he was bragging about, even though I had no interest. Both of them started letting their guards down completely. They were laughing in my face, and I was smiling right back. Step 4. The hook. To make sure they both showed up, I told Emily I wanted her to help organize the party. She said yes immediately, which meant she'd be involved in inviting people. I also told Matt that Emily would be there, just to see how he reacted. His voice didn't even flinch, too confident, too sure that I was clueless. Step 5. The bomb. I started preparing a little presentation. Not for work, not for fun, but for destruction. A slideshow. Each slide would be a piece of evidence. The Tinder profiles. The screenshots of their texts. Pictures of them together. All neatly arranged, with dates and times. And the best part? I wasn't just going to show it to them. I was going to show it to everyone at the party. Step 6, the failsafe. Just in case one of them didn't show up, I had an alternate plan, sending the entire slideshow as an anonymous email to everyone they cared about. Friends, family, coworkers. One way or another, the truth was going to burn through their lives like gasoline on fire. By the time my birthday rolled around, I had everything in place. They thought they were walking into a celebration. What they didn't know was, they were walking into an execution. The day of my birthday, I woke up feeling calm. Not excited, not anxious, just steady. Like a soldier who's already accepted the battle ahead. Every move I'd make that night had already been rehearsed in my head 100 times. By late afternoon, I'd set up everything. The living room was decorated with balloons and streamers. A long table was lined with snacks, drinks, and a cake big enough for 20 people. Music played low in the background, giving the room a warm, welcoming feel. If anyone walked in, they'd think it was just another casual birthday party. And that's exactly what I wanted them to think. One by one, guests started arriving. Old friends from high school, a couple of coworkers, even some neighbors who'd become close over the years. I greeted them all with a smile, laughed at their jokes, and accepted their birthday wishes like nothing was wrong. Then Matt walked in. He was wearing his best shirt, the one he used to save for special dates. Funny, I wondered if Emily had picked it out for him. He handed me a gift bag, gave me a friendly slap on the shoulder, and acted like we'd been brothers since birth. Not long after, Emily arrived. She looked perfect. Hair done, makeup flawless, a little black dress she knew I liked. She kissed me on the cheek like we were still the couple everyone thought we were. If I didn't know the truth, I would have believed the act. As the night went on, the party felt normal. People were chatting, drinking, and laughing. Matt and Emily stayed on opposite sides of the room most of the time, careful not to draw attention. But every now and then, I caught them glancing at each other. Quick, almost invisible looks. Almost. I kept mingling, making sure everyone was comfortable. The slideshow file sat quietly on my laptop, ready to go at the press of a button. A simple click would turn this happy little gathering into something no one would forget. Around 10 p.m., I tapped my glass to get everyone's attention. I told them I wanted to say a few words to thank them for coming, for being part of my life. The room quieted, all eyes on me. Emily smiled. Matt nodded. Neither of them had the slightest clue that in a few minutes, they'd wish they'd never stepped foot in my home. I took a deep breath, the kind that makes the air feel heavy in your chest. Then I said, before we cut the cake, I've prepared a little presentation, just some memories I wanted to share with you all. The lights dimmed. The first slide appeared. It was an old picture of me, Matt, and Emily, smiling, happy, from better times. People chuckled and made little comments. They thought it was sweet. They didn't know the sweetness was about to turn to ash. The first few slides were harmless, pictures from parties, trips, and game nights. People were laughing, pointing, sharing small memories out loud. Matt and Emily even smiled at a couple of them, probably thinking they were safe. But then, the tone changed. Slide 7 wasn't a group photo. It was a screenshot of Emily's Tinder profile, full name, picture, and location. A couple of guests murmured, confused. Matt's smile faltered. Emily's face froze, her glass halfway to her lips. Slide 8 came up. A screenshot from Matt's profile, same app, same city. A ripple of whispers moved through the room. I could feel the tension building like static before a lightning strike. Then came slide 9. A side-by-side comparison of their profiles matched. The date they connected clearly displayed. Exactly 2 months ago. Emily's eyes darted to Matt. Matt shifted in his seat, suddenly very interested in the floor. Slide 10 was a chat log. Nothing graphic, just enough to make their intentions obvious. Jokes, flirty lines, talk about meeting up. The room went quiet. Then I dropped the hammer. Slide 11, a photo I'd taken from outside the restaurant. Matt and Emily, leaning in close, holding hands across the table. The date and time stamped in the corner matched a night Emily had told me she was, at Mia's place. I didn't say a word. I let the images speak for me. Each slide was another nail in the coffin, more screenshots, more dates, more photos. The story told itself, piece by piece, and there was no way to twist it. By the time I hit the final slide, a plain black screen with the words some friends. Some girlfriend. The room was silent. No one looked at Matt or Emily. They were shrinking in their seats, cornered animals without a way out. Finally, I turned the lights back on. I scanned the room slowly, making eye contact with a few people. Then I said, "So? Now you know." No yelling. No theatrics. Just the truth, laid bare for everyone to see. The first person to speak wasn't me, it was one of our mutual friends. They turned to Matt and said, "You're a piece of work." Another friend muttered something about Emily being disgusting. One by one, people started standing, grabbing their coats, walking out. No one wanted to stay in the same room as them. And that's when it hit me, this wasn't just my revenge. This was their social execution. After the last guest left, the house felt eerily quiet. Matt and Emily were still there, but they weren't looking at me. They weren't even looking at each other. They were just frozen. I didn't speak first. I poured myself a drink, sat on the couch, and let the silence drag. Sometimes silence is the sharpest blade you can use. Emily finally stood up, muttering something about needing to explain. Matt stayed seated, his jaw tight. Neither of them could even come up with the same lie to cover themselves. That told me everything I needed to know, they weren't united, even now. I told them both, in the calmest voice I could manage, that we were done. Not just me and Emily, me and Matt. Whatever friendship we had, whatever history we shared, it was gone. They could have each other if they wanted, but it would come at a cost. And that cost was about to start stacking. Within 2 days, the ripple effect hit. Mutual friends started blocking them on social media. Matt's phone calls went unanswered by the guys we used to hang out with. Emily's name started popping up in group chats, not with sympathy, but with disgust. Then came the first real crack. I heard from a friend that Matt had been asking around if Emily had talked to anyone else while they were seeing each other. Jealousy. Distrust. The very poison they'd fed me was now swirling between them. I decided to add a little pressure. I sent Matt an anonymous tip, a screenshot of Emily's Tinder profile still being active. I knew she hadn't deleted it because I'd checked. I didn't need to say it was me. I knew he'd recognize the truth in it instantly. 2 days later, I got confirmation. They'd had a screaming match in public. People overheard Matt accusing her of talking to other guys. Emily fired back about his own habits, throwing in things that were clearly meant to hurt. It was working. They weren't just losing me, they were starting to lose each other. Something personal. Something that would make sure they never forgot what they did to me. By now, their relationship was hanging by threads. The public exposure at my birthday had wrecked their social circle, and the quiet nudges I'd given had turned them against each other. But I wanted something that would stick. Something that would haunt them every time they tried to move on. The opportunity came faster than I expected. Emily worked at a small marketing firm. I still had access to a few old emails and files we'd shared when I helped her with a project once. Buried in those files were details about a borrowing incident, a little money she'd taken from a client budget to cover a personal expense, planning to replace it before anyone noticed. She never did. I didn't send it to her boss directly, that would have been too obvious. Instead, I sent it anonymously to the company's HR email, along with the dates and proof. I made sure to mask the source so well that even if they suspected me, they couldn't prove it. A week later, she was let go for policy violations. No public scandal, but enough that she'd have to explain the gap in her resume every time she applied somewhere else. Matt's turn came soon after. He had a little side hustle selling collectible electronics online, only problem was, some of them weren't exactly legitimate. I sent a friendly, anonymous tip to a buyer who'd been scammed in the past. That buyer happened to be active on a popular local forum. And let's just say, Matt's name started circulating with words like fraud and con artist attached. Within days, he lost most of his buyers and a chunk of the income he depended on. I didn't gloat. I didn't send them any messages or make any public posts about it. I wanted them to feel the confusion, the paranoia, wondering if it was me, knowing deep down it probably was, but having no proof to fight back. And the best part? They still tried to make it work between them for a little. Well, I saw the occasional post of them together, forced smiles that looked more like grimaces. But the comments were gone, the likes were fewer, and the air around them was different. Toxic. The revenge was done. They weren't destroyed in a loud explosion, they were slowly dismantled, piece by piece, until there was nothing left to stand on. And that was exactly how I wanted it. Weeks passed. Then months. And just like that, the chaos I'd set in motion became part of the background noise of their lives. Emily never got another marketing job in our city. She started working at a boutique store, part-time, barely enough to keep her afloat. Word had spread quietly, not the full story, but enough to make employers pass her over. Every time I passed that street and saw her through the window, folding clothes in silence, I felt the same mix of satisfaction and something else. Matt wasn't doing much better. His collectible electronics hustle was dead. Most of the guys he used to hang out with wouldn't even return his texts. I heard he'd moved into a smaller apartment, selling off some of his stuff just to make rent. From what I gathered, they stayed together for maybe another month after the fallout. But trust is a fragile thing. Once it's cracked, it's never the same. They started blaming each other for their bad luck. Accusations turned into fights, fights into cold silences. Eventually, Matt left. Or maybe Emily kicked him out. Either way, they didn't last. And me? I had my closure. The truth was out. Everyone who mattered knew what they'd done. They couldn't rewrite the story to make themselves the victims. But here's the thing no one tells you about revenge. It doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't give you back the years you lost or the trust you gave so freely. Even after all the satisfaction, there's an emptiness that lingers, a quiet reminder that you were hurt badly enough to become someone capable of orchestrating all this. Some nights, I'd sit in my living room, thinking about the old times, the laughter we shared, the plans we made, and I'd feel a twinge, not of regret for what I did, but for the fact that it ever had to be done. Still, I knew one thing for certain: they would never, ever forget me. Not because I was their friend, but because I was the one who ended them. By the time summer rolled around, they were both ghosts in my world. No calls, no texts, no accidental run-ins at mutual hangout. They'd been pushed to the edges of the map, socially, financially, emotionally. I hadn't spoken to either of them since the night of my birthday. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't need to. Revenge isn't about staying in someone's life, it's about making sure your absence weighs heavier than your presence ever did. One evening, I was out at a quiet bar downtown, having a drink alone. The place was half empty, just soft music and the clink of glasses. That's when I saw him. Matt. Sitting at the far end of the bar, hunched over, nursing a cheap beer. His shirt was wrinkled, his face tired, his eyes distant. He didn't see me. And for the first time, I didn't feel the rush of anger I used to. I just felt done. A week later, I passed by that boutique store again. Emily was outside on her lunch break, smoking, scrolling through her phone. She looked older somehow, not in years but in weight. The kind of heaviness you carry when you've lost more than you thought you would. I walked past without a word. She didn't look up. But here's the twist. A month later, I got a message from an unknown number. No greeting, no name. Just 4 words: "You ruined my life." I stared at it for a while, wondering which one of them sent it. Matt? Emily? Maybe both, passing the phone between them. And then, I deleted it. No reply. Because the truth was, I hadn't ruined their lives. They'd done that themselves. I just made sure the consequences showed up right on time. As I walked away from all of it for good, I realized something. Revenge had given me closure, but not peace. Peace came from knowing I would never let anyone get that close to betraying me again. And if they ever thought about me in the years to come, it wouldn't be with nostalgia or fondness. It would be with the sting of the night everything fell apart, the night they realized some people don't forgive, they finish you. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, thank you.